Jimmy popping all that bullshit. I be seeing Jimmy talking about we Gucci boo boo here, the Gucci started about we Gucci boo boo. The Black Kings was going. He caught Jimmy up like, manita moneda.
It sounds like he want to do one with 50 Cent. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like Jim.
Nah, I don't want to do nothing with that sucker. You heard? Leave him out the comps.
Jim Jones. Who is Jim Jones? Like, he's not on anyone's top 10 list. He's not. He's like no one's top.
When Jay did the remix, it was the biggest alley-oop he could do for me. I understood a lot about music, and at that time, people were looking at the wrong way.
This rare video that 50 Cent dropped after completely embarrassing Jim Jones for coming at Nas is wild. It shows exactly how Jim switched up on Jay-Z. 1 minute calling Jay soft, the next minute begging to get signed under Rock Nation.
If I told you I was in the Rock Nation office, how would you feel about that? Huh? You think I was lying?
50's never liked Jim or Jay, that's no secret. But when Jim started bragging recently, saying he was better than Nas, and even helped make Nasco go viral again, that's when 50 snapped. He wasn't gonna let that slide. Now 50's exposing Jim's whole record of disloyal moves, not just his disrespect toward Nas, but his entire pattern of flipping sides whenever it benefits him.
I did for Nas, probably never been done for him in his life. He's never been that viral act.
For years, Jim's been playing both ends. One day dissing, the next day apologizing, switching from beef to begging, depending on who's hot.
All ever.
Certain people shouldn't be able to say your names until they done something in the genre of music. I've done too much in this music to even have to answer that question, like Jim.
And let's not forget, this dude really talked reckless about Jay-Z for over a decade. There was even that rumor about him slapping one of Jay's execs. But when the bag got low, suddenly Jim was on his knees, praising Jay like a hero, desperate for a Rock Nation deal.
I want you to Nas, and I don't care what nobody say. I know I made a little boo-boo when we talk about the sales and all this type of shit. I don't feel like getting into that rhetoric about where I started and where he's finished. But listen, Nas was nice when I was in high school. When I was in 10th grade, Nas came out. Nas was dope. We appreciated him. He had a little bit run. But Nas always came up second to Jay and DMX and all these other people.
But lyrically, I'm gonna keep it a stack with you. Y'all ain't people.
You don't even be in the same places I be in.
Right? I can be in a church house. You can't definitely Nas lyrics. I don't know who told you that. Now look, y'all know you on that good stuff, but you're not seeing Nas.
Well,
you're not seeing Nas, bro. Let's be real.
You got a bunch of 40 and 50-year-olds in their panties because I said I'm better than Nas. Hey, I want one circle around Nas rapping right. I will run circles around Nas rapping right. The dog. What now?
No, I can run up. Take my mic.
Patting around Nas right now rapping. Everybody knows.
So now, 50's making sure the world remembers who Jim really is. A man with no loyalty, no backbone, and no real respect for the culture he claims to love.
Ever. He's never been talked about like this ever in his life. You did. The last time he was in some shit like this, when people were comparing him.
The whole story of Jim Jones's beef with Nas is like a movie gone wrong. His trash talk ended up backfiring hard. Instead of clowning Nas, Jim opened the door for 50 Cent and others to dig deep into his messy past and drag all his receipts out for the world to see.
I told you I was in the Rock Nation office. How would you feel about that? Huh? You think I was lying? That's clear enough for you? Talk to me. Let me know your sentiments. You heard?
So let's break it down. From mocking Jay-Z to suddenly showing him love, Jim's flip-flop game has been wild. 50 Cent, who's famous for calling out fake rappers, recently called Jim Jay-Z's lapdog, and honestly, he wasn't lying. After Jim threw shade at Nas, the whole thing spiraled into proof that Jim can't ever stay consistent.
You heard?
I did a little something for you in the studio. Then he had something to Old Boy.
This is Old Boy's already #1?
Yeah, it's popping. I listened to it and I was like...
Remember when Jim went on Shannon Sharpe's show, puffing his chest out saying he's better than Nas? He even claimed he could out-rap him in the booth. Then he doubled down, bragging that he made Nas relevant again.
First of all, let's get right to it. There seems to be some drama. You and The Rock, Jay-Z, you try to diss. You did diss him. I just nobody. You dissed him. I just know. I dissed Michael Jordan. Let's go drama, man. We're gonna get to that. Shouts to Dame Dash, who started Rockefeller Records. If y'all don't know, he's responsible for Rockefeller getting off the floor that started in Harlem. You know what I'm talking about?
The first time since that legendary Jay-Z feud, but fans weren't buying it. Rappers started clowning him, saying he was being too cocky for no reason. That's when 50 stepped in and hit him where it hurts. He dropped a vintage clip of Jim looking beyond happy, almost starstruck, inside Roc Nation headquarters. And the caption, pure 50 energy. He wrote, "Someone asked me if I have more enemies than friends. I thought about it and said, yes, poor me. I'm suffering from success, Petty? Maybe. But strategic? Absolutely. Because if you know the history between Jim and Jay, you get it. This man spent 13 years dissing Jay-Z in the streets through records and interviews. But when the timing worked in his favor, Jim went all in, begging for Jay-Z's approval like his career depended on it.
You know what I'm talking about?
How about that, bro? All right, I said this, middleman, give me that. I'm on there, Joe. Got it. It's burning the streets up. Y'all know what it is, man. Purple Haze coming out. My dude Cam album coming out. Joel Santana, he's slated for September. You know what they call me, Geronimo Pratt and Dipset, the new Black King. Well, no problem.
That's the crazy part. His latest jab at Nas didn't just age badly. It completely blew up in his face because now everyone's digging back into his shady, double-faced history.
I promise you this. Yeah, I'm sitting green with the gun in it. A hotel, second things in my rock. Listen, but I spent about $8 mommy on stage.
But hold on, how did Jim go from allegedly slapping one of Jay's execs and clowning Jay for years to suddenly begging to be signed under him?
Jim Jones, the rapper, is going down. Yeah.
Let's rewind. It all traces back to 2002 when Dame Dash pulled in Jim Jones and Cam'ron to expand the Rockefeller family. Jim even bragged that Cam was promised a vice president spot at Rockefeller, acting like the deal was already in the bag. But here's the twist. Jay never confirmed that. He stayed quiet while Cam ran to the source saying, "I don't even know if I'm gonna take the role yet. Me and Dame are still talking about it, but I mean, I can have it. It's mine." Sounds confident, right? But Jay stepped in and told the source a whole different story. He said that nothing had been finalized and called the whole talk a little premature.
Jimmy Jones. Jim Jones.
What's up with that Jim Jones shit, man? Hip hop, of course, you know, is a competitive sport. But on the other end of it, it's like certain people shouldn't be able to say your names until they done something in the genre of music. I've done too much in this music to even have to answer that question. Like Jim Jones, who is Jim Jones? Like, he's not on anyone top 10 list.
That's when the tension started to boil. Rockefeller was split between loyalty to Dame and loyalty to Jay. Then, just to make things spicier, Jay dropped a remix to Cam'ron and Joel Santana's hit, Oh Boy, sliding in a verse that many thought was aimed straight at Nas. Cam'ron wasn't having it. He straight up removed Jay-Z's verse from the Oh Boy remix and later said he refused to let Jay use their record to settle his beefs. That move set the tone for what came next. The sneak diss era had officially begun. From that moment, Jim and Cam felt like Jay didn't respect them or their movement, and that tension started brewing heavy. Jim began taking shots at Jay in every interview, every radio stop, calling him soft, too corporate, and too disconnected from the real streets. He painted Dipset as the raw, flashy, street-approved crew while labeling Jay as the suit-wearing mogul who forgot where he came from. The contrast was loud. Dipset was all pink furs, gang ties, and chaos, while Jay was running boardrooms and chasing brand deals. At first, Jay stayed cool and didn't clap back directly, but everyone in Rockefeller felt the split. The camp was divided. Then in 2006, everything flipped when Jim dropped We Fly High, and that ballin' chant took over every block, every radio, every club. Jim finally had a monster hit on his own. Jay couldn't stay silent anymore, so he fired back in cold-blooded fashion with Brooklyn High, a remix using Jim's own beat. But instead of showing love, Jay used it to clown him. He mocked Jim's flow, his bars, even his ad-libs. The whole thing was a slick, icy roast. Jay didn't yell or rant. He sliced through with precision, letting everyone know who still ruled New York. But Jim wasn't backing down either. He flipped the track again into his own beef mix, changing the tempo and coming for Jay's neck, calling him washed up, out of touch, and too old to understand the new wave. By this point, the drama had jumped out of the music and into real life. Things got serious fast. In 2008, security footage caught Jim Jones getting into a physical altercation at the Louis Vuitton store, and word spread quick. Later, it came out that the man he allegedly swung on was none other than Lenny Santiago, Jay-Z's longtime A&R and one of his closest business allies. Jim ended up pleading guilty to a minor assault charge, but the damage was already done. Cameron even fired off another slick verse, rapping, "Having money don't make you a real one. You stepped on the court, you're gonna play my game. Just take shoddy advice and say my name." It was clearly aimed at Jay-Z, a last attempt to bait him back into beef. But by then, Jay was operating on a whole different level. Jay wasn't just a rapper anymore. He was a billionaire. He'd built his own streaming empire, was married to Beyonce, collecting million-dollar art pieces, and making power moves in sports management. In other words, Jay didn't care one bit about Jim or Cam still yelling from the sidelines. In fact, Jay addressed this exact dynamic in a resurfaced interview where he compared himself to Michael Jordan, saying that Jim was like the eighth man on the bench yelling at the MVP. That comment stung. Jay wasn't even trying to diss him directly, he was just making Jim look small and desperate. But here's the twist. Jim didn't keep it quiet. He started bragging online about being invited to Jay's exclusive Rock Nation brunch, showing love to the same man he once trashed, posting praise, flashing smiles, and talking like Jay was his hero. The same man who once swung on Jay-Z's close friend, called him soft, and clowned him for selling out the streets, was suddenly out here saying Jay had always been his role model. The switch-up was unreal. But Jay, he didn't say a word. No public welcome, no speech, no post, nothing. When Jim finally joined Rock Nation, Jay kept that billionaire composure and acted like it was just another business transaction. Now 50 Cent is bringing that whole story back to life, dragging Jim for bending the knee after years of talking reckless. If Jim had never disrespected Nas, this probably would have stayed buried. But once he opened his mouth again, it gave 50 the perfect excuse to pull up the old receipts. Every flip, every fake allegiance, every desperate move. So here's the question. How far is this fallout gonna go? Can Jim's career recover from being exposed this badly? Or is this the final chapter of his street legend turning corporate? Drop your thoughts below. Let me know what you think, and don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Stay tuned, it's about to get even messier.